This video is different because it is incredibly serious. It is not a What Made Wednesdays video, despite it being long overdue. This is very topical, and I feel very passionate, and I'm deeply angered by it. On Friday the 13th of November 2015, at approximately 9 p.m, a group of extreme Islamic terrorists entered the Stade de France, Paris, during a rock concert and killed around 120 people. Many were injured, and gunmen roamed the streets surrounding it. I am disgusted by this act of repulsive murder, by the response some are giving, by how the media are handling it. Many are blaming Muslims for this. They are physically and verbally being abused over what a group of extremists did. These innocents have no connections to the situation at all, except for their religion, which these extremists claim to believe and follow. The whole definition of an extremist is a person or a group with ideals that are more severe and exaggerated than those of the original group. And using those extremists as a reflection for a whole group of people, for the million of innocent Muslims, just because these madmen claim to believe what they do, is utterly vulgar. And if you believe this is okay, you need to reevaluate other situations similar to this one, and your own morals. You wouldn't blame the Holocaust on the Germans right now, would you? You wouldn't go up to one and call them a Nazi because of what one extremist believed in World War II. You wouldn't go up to a Christian and proclaim them to be a part of the KKK because of those extremists who were the KKK in the 60s, 70s and 80s. You wouldn't pin Ireland, northern or southern, as a country to have extreme terrorist groups, but they did during the conflicts. So why do people believe that it's okay to blame this, among other terrorist attacks, on millions of innocent Muslims that have done nothing wrong? The biggest act of domestic terrorism in the US was carried out by an ex-US soldier in Oklahoma. He created a homemade bomb and blew up an office block. 19 children, among nearly 100 citizens, died that day. And it's all because he disagreed with how the government ran the country. He wasn't Muslim. He didn't carry out the act of terrorism in the name of religion or race. He was a US citizen. So why don't we look at Americans and pin them as terrorists? Because pinning that act of terrorism on that whole race of people compared to that one man, that's discrimination, and it's wrong. Another thing which is just awful, pissing me off, is how people are shutting others who want to show their support down because it's ineffective. The people who post their condolences on social media, who are changing their profile pictures to French flags or using the hashtag #PrayForParis on Twitter, they aren't patronising or pitiful. They are trying their best to show the support to the people who have undergone this utterly traumatic experience. And you having a go at this show of kindness is undermining the whole situation. Maybe it won't have a dramatic effect on preventing other attacks like this happening in the future. It won't bring anyone back from the dead or change anyone's life. But what it will do is it will give someone ridden with grief and memories of what they had to endure a spark of hope, because they'll know that there are people out there thinking of them, of the situation of Paris, of France as a country, they'll know that they aren't alone. It's not much, but it's the least we, as normal and essentially helpless beings, can do. This has affected me. I won't lie. I'm not saying that I understand what the casualties and the families of the victims are going through. I wasn't there that evening. I heard through my brother after he found out through Facebook. But I am deeply upset by the actions carried out and how people are handling it. It is damaging the very small amount of faith I had in our own species. I know that it will most likely happen again because people can't live in peace. That ideal will never happen. And it saddens me, and I can't even begin to imagine what those in Paris are going through right now as they sit tight in their homes because they're in lockdown. Don't ever think for a moment that hating on an innocent group of people is okay because you believe that they are responsible for something as terrible as this. Don't hesitate to show your support. What happened 2 days ago was a terrible, awful act of terrorism. It's inexcusable, disgusting, and quite frankly disappointing. Discrimination is never okay, and neither is murder.